Okay, so let's focus. This is a really easy quiz if you pay attention today. All right, so let's do that. Number one, we have a right triangle where theta is down here, bottom left there, and side A was 3, and side B was 4, and side C was 5. So there's our picture, right? And all we had to do was find the three main trig functions. We didn't have to find all 6 of these. Okay? So remember, it's SOHCAHTOA are our 3 main, right? So sine of theta is over opposite 4, straight across, over h hypotenuse 5. That's all you gotta do. Simple.
That's all you have to do. I do the simple and cool.
No.
You don't have to do this for this one.
Yeah.
Cosine of theta adjacent 3a over 5 hypotenuse. Tangent of theta opposite 4 over adjacent 3. Simple. Okay, just the fractions, all you need. No decimal. There was no radicals to worry about. Okay, so number 2 is very similar, but you have to find the other 3. Cosecant, which goes with sine, secant, that goes with cosine, and cotangent, that goes with tangent. And all you do is flip your fractions, right? They're reciprocal. Okay, but this one, I only gave you 2 of the 3 sides, right? So you had to find the third side first, all right? And here's theta, and side A was this one, which was 10, and side B was 5. Okay, so we had to find the hypotenuse. So we use Pythagorean theorem. So you go a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is 100 plus 25, which is 125. So then we have to take the square root, right? And put it in radical form. Don't give me that decimal answer. Okay? So this is easy, 25 times 5. So what number can I pull out? 5. What's left? A 5, right? So that's our hypotenuse, 5 radical 5. Now, here's what I would do to make this a little easier. I always do this when I start. I look at the 3 sides and see if they have a common factor. Is there a common factor? 5, yes. So I'm going to divide 5 into all of them, so then when I have my fractions for sine, cosine, tangent, and cosecant, secant, and cotangent, they'll be in lowest terms. Okay? So I divide 5 by 5 and get a 1, 5 divided by 5, and 10 divided by 5. So now my 3 sides are 2 for A, 1 for B, and 1 radical 5, or just radical 5 for C. Okay? And I'm going to do my SOHCAHTOA now. All right? So sine of theta opposite 1 over hypotenuse radical 5. Well, we can't leave it like that, so we have to rationalize it. So we get that. Square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is 5, right? So its reciprocal is cosecant. So I just do that right away. And I just do the original fraction. not the final fraction, because if I flip this one, then I gotta rationalize again, right? So I just flip that, so it's radical 5 over 1, which is just radical 5 if you want to leave it. So there's the first two of the 6, okay? Then we'll do cosine. Adjacent to over hypotenuse, radical 5. And again, I have to rationalize the denominator. So I get 2 radical 5 over 5 for cosine. Secant is its reciprocal. And I'm going to do that original one. So it's the square root of 5 over 2. And then tangent, opposite 1 over adjacent 2. And cotangent is its reciprocal. So that would be 2 over 1. Simple, right, Connor? Any questions? No decimals. All fractions radicals. Okay? Simplest radical form. We good on the first two? Okay, 3 and 4, you can write a decimal because you're using the calculator for the whole thing. But you got to draw a picture. You got to read it and draw a picture of what's going on. So this says the surveyor whose eye level is 10 feet above the ground determines the angle of elevation to the top of an office building to be 35.7 degrees. So, guy's looking up. His eyes are here. All right? There's his eye. All right, he's looking up at the top of the building. And that measure was 35.7. Okay. And the surveyor standing 45 feet from the base of the building. Okay. So this distance is 45. Buildings, hopefully, straight up and down, right, with the ground right angle. Okay. Now remember, the ground is down here somewhere, right? So how far is it from there to there? Thanks, you guys. Told us right at the beginning, right? He's 10 feet, his eyes are 10 feet above the ground. He's on a ladder or something, I don't know. In a tree, I don't know. All right? We're looking for the height of the building. Well, we can find X height, but we're going to have to do at the end to find the whole building height. Add the 10, right? Understand that? You're going to find the X value, but you're going to have to add 10 to that answer for the height of the whole building. All right? You understand that? Okay. So, here's my angle. X is which side compared to this angle? Opposite. 45 feet away is what side? Adjacent. Opposite adjacent. TOA. Right? So my equation is tangent of our angle equals opposite side over adjacent side. And what do we tell you to do with these? Put them over 1 so you have a proportion. How do you solve a proportion? Cross multiply. So 1 times x is x, and tangent of 35.7 times 45. And when you put tangent in your calculator, it gives you the left parenthesis. So close your parenthesis off, right? You got to make sure you're in degree mode, right? Or you won't get the right answer. So I'm going to check my mode, make sure degrees highlighted. It is, so I'm good to go. So I just put tangent, which is right there, hit the tan button, 35.7, close it up, times 45. All right, that's 32 point, we'll just go to tenths, 32, what's it say? Nearest foot. So we'll just go to 32. Now remember, that's right here. But how tall is the building now? Since his eyes were 10 feet above the ground. How tall is the building? 42 feet. You have to add the 10. So make sure whatever the eye level is tomorrow on your quiz, that you add that, right? For your final answer. Okay? Any questions? Why? You're given this angle. You're looking for this side, and you know this side. Opposite and adjacent is this one. So we got to use tangent. Okay? So depending on what information you know, you got to figure out which trig function to use, sine, cosine, or tangent. Right, Sydney? Quit playing on your phone. All right, number 4, same type of problem. We have to draw a picture of a triangle and figure out what they're asking us, and then figure out which trig function to use. So we got a airplane's taking off, angle of ascent is 15 degrees. Okay, so here's the ground. It's going to go up in the air. As it's going up, that's 15 degrees. Okay? That makes sense? It says the airplane climbs to an altitude of 8,000 feet. Altitude is from the ground straight up, right? To where the plane is. So this is your 8,000 feet. Because the plane's up here somewhere, right? After so long. You with me? You understand why that opposite side is 8,000 feet? Okay, that's how you figure out the altitude, right? Straight up. It says, at that point, what is the land distance between the airplane and the airport? So here's the airport, right? Land distance is this, right? That's what we're looking for. Does that make sense? If it said air distance, that'd be the hypotenuse, right? Make sense? Because that's how it went in the air. But looking straight up above, it traveled this far along the land. Does that make sense? We understand where our 8,000 and our x is. Okay. So here we are again. We're at this angle. Which side is this? Opposite. Which side is this? Adjacent. So what do we got to use again? Tangent, right? So again, I don't know if that's how it's going to be tomorrow, but it could be. All right. So from this picture, to figure out x, we're going to use tangent. Our angle is 15 equals opposite side 8,000 over adjacent side x. So again, we put our left side over 1, so it's a proportion. And we cross multiply. So tangent of 15 times x equals 1 times 8,000, which is 8,000, right? What do I got to do to get x alone? Divide by what? Tangent of 15, yeah. To get x alone, we're going to have to divide it over. So, don't have to worry about any guy on the ladder, different height, eye level, and anything. We're just, whatever x is going to be our answer this time, okay? So we go to our calculator and put it in 8,000 divided by tangent of 15. So to the nearest foot is 29,856 feet. Questions on 3 or 4? So those two are word problems. You have to draw your right triangle and put your information in and then figure out. In those two problems, it was tangent. But maybe tomorrow they'll give you a little different information. So it could be sine if you knew opposite and hypotenuse. It would be cosine if you knew adjacent and hypotenuse. Well, we're looking for one of them. All right? Okay. Numbers 5 through 7 is this picture you refer to. But each problem has a different picture. You understand that? There are 3 different problems there. 3 different pictures. But A is always here for your picture. C is always there. B is there. The 30-degree angle is always there. The 60-degree angle is always there. Okay? So, for number 5, here's our information. AB is 10. Okay? So, you have to find BC and AC, right? The 2 missing sides. Well, the short leg in a 30, 60, 90 is what relationship to the hypotenuse? Half as much, right? So what's half of 10? 5. Okay? And the long leg is always the short leg times what? Square root of 3. So there's our 2 answers. No decimal. No Pythagorean theorem. You're supposed to have this memorized. That's the x. That's the 2x. This is x times the square root of 3. Every stinking time. Okay? Questions on 5? Okay, number 6. Here's the information you're given. AC is 2 radical 2. Right? So, if I got this, if this was 10, I divided by 2 to get 5, and I multiplied by radical 3 to get that, how do I go from here to here? Divide by radical 3, and then from here to here, times 2, right? So, BC is 2 radical 2 divided by radical 3. That's how you get from AC to BC. Always divide by radical 3. Am I allowed to leave it looking like that? No. So how do I get rid of the radical 3? Multiply top and bottom by radical 3. What's radical 2 times radical 3? What's radical 3 times radical 3? There's our answer. No decimal. Just radical form. Fraction. Okay? To get from BC to AB, you always double it. Times 2. And all you have to double is the number in front of the radical. So what's 2 doubled? 4. Done. Because you have that triangle memorized. Like I told you to, right? Right, Brock? Well, you will tonight, won't you? Number 7. exact same problem, except AC's different number this time. This time AC is 5 radical 5. So it's the same thing, though. Take 5 radical 5 and do what with it? Divide by radical 3. Okay, so 6 and 7 are the same problem, it's just different numbers. Same procedure. Rationalize the denominator. Oops, not 5. What should that be? 3. So what's 5 times 3? So Landry, what's AB now? If BC is 5 radical 15 over 3, what's AB? This went from 2 radical 6 to 4 radical 6. This is 10, yeah. 10 radical 15 over 3. Just double that 5. Okay? Questions? That's always going to happen when you have this situation, 30, 60, 90 right triangle. The hypotenuse is always twice as long as the short leg, and the short leg times the square root of 3 is the long leg. Okay? If I knew this, I'd double it and times radical 3. If I know that, like the first one, divide by 2 and then times radical 3. If I know that, divide by radical 3 and then double. Okay? Always the same. 8, 9, and 10 is this situation where we have a 45, 45, 90. And I made these X, Y, Z like that. And these are always the same. And hypotenuse is always whatever those are times the square root of 2. Always. All right? So for number 8, this is our picture. Same letters in the same spots. And you are given that XY is 12. So you're supposed to tell me what XZ equals, which is the hypotenuse. So you take this side and multiply it by what? Radical 2, and you're done. You don't have to do Pythagorean theorem. You don't have to do sine, cosine, tangent. You just know it. Okay? Number 9. I'll just do it here so we can look at our XX and X radical 2. This time you were told that XZ, the hypotenuse, is 14. So if I know XY, I had to multiply by radical 2 to get XZ. If I know XZ and I have to get XY, I go the other way. What do? Divide by radical 2. And then rationalize. But what goes into 14 and 2? 2, right. So it makes it 7 radical 2, right? 2 goes into 14 7 times. So here's our answer. All right, and the last one. Still 45, 45, 90. Still Z here. Y here. And X here. And this time, we know YZ is 5 radical 5. And you're supposed to find XZ. So what do we do with the side to get to the hypotenuse? Caleb Collins? Right. So 5 radical 2, I'm sorry, 5 radical 5 times radical 2 is 5 radical 10. No decimals, please. Any questions? All right, that's it. Simple. Last quiz before exam.